On January 12, 1946, 4 months and 10 days after the formal Japanese surrender signifying the official end of World War II, thousands of American soldiers marched down Fifth Avenue in New York City. The Victory Parade was America's way of honoring the men and women who sacrificed so much since the United States had been drawn into the war on December 7, 1941. Each one of the soldiers, sailors, and airmen who went off to war had their own very personal experience. Each contributed to the most cataclysmic event in world history in their own unique way. Many returned to the United States and got on with their lives, going back to work and starting families. Many never did come home and still rest in overseas American cemeteries in places like Normandy, Holland, and Manila. My father, Bruce Sundlun, was one of the fortunate men who did survive, but how he did is truly an amazing story. Dad was a B-17 bomber pilot in Europe and lived one of the most amazing escape stories of World War II. His incredible story is still celebrated in Belgium today, more than 70 years later, as I personally discovered retracing my father's journey in the war. Not only was Bruce Sundlun an American bomber pilot, but he was also Jewish. 2 strikes against him if he was ever captured by the Germans, who were exterminating Jews all over Europe and also known for their harsh treatment of Allied air crews who were shot down. My name is Kara Sundlun House, and this is Above and Beyond, the true story of Bruce Sundlun, a Jewish-American B-17 pilot, and his incredible escape from Nazi-occupied Europe in World War II. My father, Bruce Sundlun, was born on January 19, 1920 in Providence, Rhode Island, the first son of Walter and Jan Zelda Sundlun.
We grew up in the Depression.
Prior to America's entry in World War II, and perhaps sensing what lay ahead, my dad earned his pilot's license.
I was a senior at Williams College. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was president at the time, wanted the United States to be prepared. And he wanted 100,000 pilots trained. And he put out a program which provided that if you could pass a physical examination, the government would teach you how to fly and give you a pilot's license. I applied.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin.
On December 7th, 1941, like all Americans, my father's carefree days of college came to a sudden stop.
We take you now to Washington.
The attack apparently was made on all naval and military activities on the principal island of Oahu.
Flyers like my dad, who already had a pilot's license, were in great demand the day after the Japanese sneak attack on Pearl Harbor, and 4 days later, when Adolf Hitler declared war on the United States.
I just packed a bag, climbed into my car, and drove down to Westover Field, Chicopee, Massachusetts, and enlisted in the Army Air Corps, the Aviation Cadet Training Program.
My father joined thousands of other American boys in England in 1943 at the height of the air war against Germany. Because he had that pilot's license before the war, Bruce Sundlun was given command of a B-17 Flying Fortress, the most durable and effective 4-engine bomber the Allies had. My dad's plane was named the Damn Yankee, given that nickname because most of its crew were boys from the North. It was based at Grafton-Underwood, one of 25 airfields north of London. Officially, he and the 10-member crew belonged to the 384th Bombardment Group, 545th Bomber Squadron, 1st Air Division of the U.S. 8th Army Air Force.
If you went to Central Casting in Hollywood and asked for a typical American crew, you couldn't find a more typical. My navigator, Rhino Yilka, a Lithuanian. My bombardier, I'm going from the front of the airplane to the back. Me, the pilot, a Jewish kid. The co-pilot, an Austrian kid from Chicago who played football for Notre Dame. Behind him, the top turret gunner and the engineer, a farm boy from Oklahoma. Behind him, a radio operator, a Pennsylvania coal miner, a German descent. Next, a Hollywood extra in the ball turret, pretty boy. 2 waist gunners, one an Italian from Seattle, the other from North Carolina, and the tail gunner was a Greek from New Jersey. It all worked. I mean, we were completely different, but we fought very well as a crew.
On December 1st, 1943, my dad and his crew from Central Casting had 12 missions under their belts. Unlucky 13 would take them into Hitler's backyard. The Damn Yankee was one of 293 B-17s assigned the mission of bombing a steel factory in the German city of Solingen, located in Germany's industrial pocket known as the Ruhr Valley. The B-17 was the workhorse of the 8th Air Force. The Fortress was known as a tough and dependable bomber that could take a major beating from enemy planes and anti-aircraft guns, but still, oftentimes miraculously, bring her crew home. On December 1st, amid heavy German flak, the flying fortresses of the 384th Bombardment Group dropped their bombs over Solingen. Once the job was done, the Damn Yankee and the other B-17s turned for home for England. But they were by no means out of the woods. With my dad at the controls, a burst of flak hit the plane over Germany and took out one of the Damn Yankee's 4 engines.
B-17 in trouble out at 2 o'clock, watching.
Got an engine on fire.
As the Yankee turned west over Belgium, and with her airspeed slowing down due to one engine being damaged, she was perfect prey for 2 German fighter planes who pounced on the wounded bomber, killing my dad's tail gunner.
There's 2 more diving through the 94th.
3 planes, 9 o'clock, coming around. Keep your eye on them, boys.
Coming around to 10.
Watch them, Chuck. Keep your eyes open.
They're breaking at 11, breaking at 11.
The crew fought off the German fighters for half an hour.
Check that B-17, Chuck, 3 o'clock. Motor smoking. Fighters 10:30, coming around.
But another engine had also been hit, and it was out too. The Yankee was losing altitude and had dropped from 27,000 feet to 4,000. A few minutes later, the B-17 was down to 1,000 feet and in serious trouble.
B-17 wouldn't stay up with the formation on only 2 engines, so I became a straggler. And then we really got jumped by the fighters.
They're coming around. Watch them.
And with 2 engines out, the only evasive action you can take is down.
B-17 out of control at 3 o'clock.
You can't hold your altitude, and you certainly can't climb.
3 planes, 9 o'clock, coming around.
We had a rule, got forced down to 3,000 feet. Tell everybody to bail out, because below that you don't have much chance of getting out. And it didn't take long for the fighters to come after us again. So I gave the order to bail out.
Come on, you guys, get out of that plane. Bail out.
There's one. He come out of the bomb bay.
Yeah, I see him.
In the 9 centuries-old town of Jabbeke, Belgium, near the northern coast of the country, German occupation had been a way of life for roughly 3 years now. With its picturesque farms and pastures, the locals had learned to live with the Germans because the alternative was more painful. Many of the men in town had already been sent to work camps. Others left home to join the local resistance or underground. Those who were still in the village, roughly 60 miles southeast of Brussels on December 1st, 1943, were just trying to tend to their farms and feed their families. They were also waiting desperately for liberation.
There wasn't much to eat. Everyone got rations, but they were very limited. Products like butter and milk were very hard to come by.
The sight of the American planes returning from bomb runs to Germany was common. Luke Paco has lived in Jabbeke his whole life. He was born long after World War II ended, but his interest in that particular day of December 1st, 1943, has been a lifelong passion. In my desire to learn more about my father's incredible World War II story, I arrived in Belgium, excited to meet Luke and hear the story firsthand. My brother Tracy also joined us. The pull of my dad's war adventure had been tugging at us all these years. Since he was 12, Luke Paco has visited this field in Jabbeke too many times to count. In 1943, turnips grew on this very spot, where just yards away, German soldiers stationed in this very home patrolled the area regularly.
It could be plexiglass.
What Luke has found in this field over the past several decades is the result of what happened next to the Damn Yankee as 23-year-old pilot Bruce Sundlun shot up B-17, continued to lose altitude, and hurtled toward Earth.
So your father turned his plane over here, came over that field, and jammed also. Immediately, he get on the ground, the B-17 make a sharp turn of 180 degrees and turn back over there on that field. With a loud bang, he crashed.
So right over here.
Over there, the end of the field.
The first attack had come right on the tail. Had taken the combined strength of me and the co-pilot to hold the plane at a level flying mode because of the damage that had been done to the tail and the control surfaces. I was the last person to bail out. When I bailed out, I was falling face down and pulled the ripcord, the chute went up, and I reached up to grab the ripcords like you see them do in the movie, and my feet hit the ground. Later, I asked people on the ground who had seen me bail out as to how high I was when my chute opened. They said about treetop height. So I was lucky. I landed in the same field that the plane crashed in. So I walked over to the wreck to see if there was anything I could do. There wasn't.
The Jabbeke area had become a war zone. The German soldiers were on full alert, and local residents were running to the chaotic scene of a huge American Flying Fortress bomber burning in their own backyard.
I saw a very big plane, a Flying Fortress. It was upside down, and only one engine was turning. We all thought it was heading for the coast. We also saw the German attackers and the air fight. The plane turned around and came over there. I saw a couple of crew members jump out, and then a third. Then the plane crashed over there with the nose in that direction. It was in the center of the field with a lot of fire and explosions. By the time I got here, a lot of people wanted to see the plane, but the area was all blocked off by the Germans. But we all saw and heard the explosions.
Ik hoorde een vlieger die in moeilijkheden was.
I heard a terrible noise, so I ran out into the yard, and I could see that this big plane was in trouble. I saw some parachutes, but I didn't see where the pilot jumped out. I grabbed my bike and hurried over to where the plane crashed. When I first got to the field, the wreckage of the plane was on fire. There was a lot of smoke filling the air, and bullets were going off from inside the fire.
There was a loud bang of smoke you can see from the village. So immediately you can see the smoke from kilometers away. Immediately all the Germans were here to look at the plane and to try to catch the other ones. They saw a few bodies lying down at the plane, just they didn't know if there were anyone was trying to escape at that moment.
5 of the Damn Yankee's crew were dead, either killed during the German fighter attack or in the crash. 4 other members of my dad's plane who were able to parachute out were immediately rounded up as prisoners by the German garrison across the road.
They were busy to capture the other man, so your father had the time to hit his parachute and to start running.
So they didn't know he was there?
No, at that moment not.
My dad tried to hide his parachute in a pile of cow manure so the Germans frantically searching the surrounding area wouldn't know he was nearby.
They came to here, but your father was already gone.
Some residents of Jabbeke had already arrived at the wreckage.
And there was a farmer, Asil size, who was plowed the field, and there was a great dugout where your father was hiding his parachute. The farmer came to your father and helped him to hide his parachute.
In the dugout?
In the dugout.
A man approached me and he turned out to be the pilot. He had blood coming down from his lip and was asking for help.
I said, "Does anybody here speak English?" And a man turned around. He said, "Yes, I do. I think I speak it rather well."
That's when another man who was with the resistance arrived and told the pilot to forget about the parachute because it was more important that he hide because the German soldiers were coming.
I said, "My instruction are to clear the area where I'm shot down as soon as possible, that the Germans will look for me for only a limited period of time." He said, "Don't worry, the Germans will be here in a few minutes. You've parachuted down into the middle of a division, a German division that's up here to protect the continent from an Allied invasion that we think will come along sooner or later." I said, "Which way are the Germans coming from?" He said, "That way." I said, "I'm going this way." And I took off at a dead run.
The soldiers didn't stay at the crash site for very long because it was too dangerous. They were concerned about all the ammunition that was burning in fire. They didn't see the pilot, so they all left.
By this time, my father was the only one in his 10-man crew to not be either dead or a POW. In daylight, Bruce Sundlun wouldn't have had much of a chance on the run, as German soldiers were swarming everywhere.
And then I remembered a book.
I remember he told me that he remembered Edgar Allan Poe's The Purloined Letter, that you hide in plain sight.
Yes.
So I figured I gotta hide myself in plain sight. And I was running down a dirt road with plowed fields on both sides. And I said, if I can get out in the middle of that field and lie down and squirm around in the dirt in one of those ruts, unless you look up that particular row, you'll never see me, because my body will be down below the height of the ruts that were plowed. And that's what I did.
So he just laid there?
He stayed there until dark falls.
So as he's laying right over there, there must have been Nazi soldiers looking all around for him.
Yes.
Right here?
Here and on the plane. When he came at the bushes, he hid in the bushes for a while. 2 German soldiers came over there with a bike, not in time to see him. The Germans passed on, and then your father sought a place to hide and stayed there for the rest of the day until nightfall.
I found out later the Germans came down that road and looked, didn't see anybody, and kept on moving.
I can't imagine what he would be thinking for all those hours, you know, just...
I think his whole life is passing through his mind during that time he lay there. We can't imagine what it felt, because you may not forget, Kara, he was a Jew.
Right.
It's a double risk for him to be captured.
They wanted to help him.
They wanted to help him.
And why is that? Because I think sometimes people don't understand.
Because our people saw the Americans as our liberators. They were proud that they want to come to help us, release from the Germans.
Dat was zeer gevaarlijk, maar ik zou het toch gedaan. Hè.
It was a very dangerous thing for any of us to help an American, because if we ever got caught, we would be executed. Nobody knew back then how terrible the prisoner of war camps were. But still, we would not hesitate to help someone.
The risk of the local people was, if they were captured to help an American, they will be shot. Your father will be taken prisoner for the rest of the war, but they will be shot, that's for sure. It was a great risk they took, but they took it.
Thank you for saving him.
On the 1st of December, it was cold. I got up, I was muddy, I was bloody, I didn't know what to do.
As a bone-chilling night fell and darkness enveloped the Belgian countryside, my father left his hiding spot in plain sight. He came across two very surprised young brothers pulling a cart full of cut leaves.
I started walking down the road. I came on two little kids who were pulling a cart of turnips, it proved to be. They were having trouble pulling the cart. It was too heavy for them. Well, I had one good arm, so I pulled and helped them. And every building that we passed, I would point at it. I had already asked them, "You speak English?"
After handing over some chewing gum and a pocket knife to the young boys to gain their trust, Bruce Sundlun asked them for help in finding a house where English was spoken. The early search yielded no positive results.
Finally, I pointed to one farm and said, "Speak English?" And they smiled and nodded affirmatively. So I said, "Now, covered my, don't talk, didn't see anything, didn't hear anything."
My father still didn't know if those who lived on this farm would help him or turn him over to the Germans, who were still looking for any Americans who may have survived the B-17 crash hours earlier. My father didn't know it yet, but a guardian angel was about to appear.
That's the man from the gate who met your father that night.
I'm Bruce's
Wie dat is.
Dat is de dochter van de piloot.
Ah.
En je ontmoette dan daar.
Van de piloot, ja, maar ja, dat weet ik wel.
Ja.
Als ik anders heb geloofd.
Nee.
English. Thank you for helping save my dad.
At the gate of the farmhouse, a wounded Bruce Sundlun found an ally in local resident Firmin Solens, a young Belgian salesman who had just finished installing some equipment at the farm.
It was just a coincidence that I was at the gate that night. I don't live here, but when your father showed up here, I let him in. I didn't know that he was an American, but when I saw that he was wounded, I let him in, because I knew that the people who lived here would help him.
I went up to this house. I just walked in. I didn't ring the bell or anything like that. I walked in with a Colt 45 in my hand, and the front hall was highly polished linoleum. I hollered, "Anybody here?" And woman came out, and she saw me dripping mud and blood and on her highly polished linoleum, and she got angry. And she went and ran back to the kitchen and got some newspapers and spread it around, pointed at me to get on the newspapers, which I did. And then she cleaned up the floor. That was her primary concern. Then she started looking me over, and she saw the blood and wounds.
He got the chance to wash him up, to eat a little bit, and the farmer's wife thought he was wounded.
Yeah.
She told him to unleave his upper body. She cleaned his wounds on his right shoulder with alcohol and a toothbrush. Your father told me it was very painful, but well done.
And I can still feel it. It hurt. And, but I didn't say anything. And she cleaned my wounds with the alcohol and a toothbrush. And then she took a pillowcase and ripped it into strips and soaked it with some bottle of I don't know what, and made a bandage out of it, the whole right side of my body. And those wounds never became infected, and I recovered from them. And it's all due to whatever that woman did that day, I think.
Your father was taken very good care of here.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Too many German soldiers patrolling the area made staying at the farm impossible for my father.
Then they decided what we're going to do with him. But your father insisted he wanted to escape to England, not hiding any place. I want to escape. So
They wanted him to just stay and hide.
Yes, that was the easiest way, because there was no one with them from the resistance.
It was about 25 minutes after I was in the barn. The door opened up, and in came a guy, and he looked like a typical Hollywood personification of a German. Close-cropped blonde hair, leather jackets, leather gauntlets, leather knickers, leather boots. All he needed was a monocle, and he qualified. I thought, damn that woman, she's turned me over to the Germans. So I shot the pistol off into the ceiling, and I hollered at him, because I could see in the dark by that time, and figured he couldn't, in the barn. Who are you and what do you want? And he came back with a very timid voice and said that he was the man from the city who bought the grain. And they had asked him if he would take me to his home in Bruges, Belgium, which was 12 miles away.
In darkness, dressed in typical Belgian clothes, right down to the wooden clogs, B-17 pilot Bruce Sundlun left the wreckage of the Damn Yankee behind, with 5 of his crew dead and 4 in the hands of the Germans. My father had only one thought: get back to England and get back in the fight.
He said, now I'm going to go first. You follow me about 50 yards behind. If I get stopped, you keep going. If you get stopped, I'm going to keep going.
Since he was a young boy, Jabbeke resident Luke Paco has wanted to preserve the sacrifices of my father's crew and the story of the B-17 that crashed in his village. It's not just about finding pieces of the Damn Yankee, which the rich soil in this field has continually given up for decades, but rather what my dad's flying fortress represented to those under Nazi control in Belgium in World War II.
I have an enormous respect for all those men who did that. Free willy. They did it for our freedom. I have enormous respect.
Instead of heading right for the city of Bruges, a dozen or so miles away, the local underground decided after leaving the farm that a stop at this halfway house would be safer for their American guest. The hideout was perilously close to this building, the local German police headquarters. About a tenth of a mile from the police station was the headquarters of some German army officers in this castle. If caught, my father would have become a prisoner. His new friends would have been shot. Later on the night of December 1st, about 9 p.m., Bruce Sundlun was once again escorted by bicycle along the back roads of Belgium toward the city of Bruges. My dad's host upon arrival in Bruges wasn't a member of the Belgian underground and wasn't aware of how to contact any members of the resistance. That's when my father recalled a lesson a Catholic coach once shared with a young boy of Jewish faith.
When you kids grow up, you're going to be somewhere where you're not going to know anybody, and you're going to have a real problem. I don't know what the problem's going to be, but you're going to not be able to solve it. And there won't be anybody there from your family or that you know. And you're going to have to get some help, and I'll tell you what to do. You go to the nearest Catholic church, tell the priest what your problem is, and ask him for help. He won't be able to solve your problem, but he will know more people in that area than anybody else, any other single individual. And he'll find somebody who knows something about your problem who can help you.
Help indeed came in the form of a Catholic priest in this church in Bruges, which I visited 7 decades later and lit a candle thanking whomever that priest was for hiding my dad. As Bruce Sundlun had learned as a young boy, the local priest did indeed know someone who could help. That someone was a member of the local resistance who provided my father with fake identity papers. According to those papers, Bruce Sundlun, Jewish-American B-17 pilot, was now a deaf-mute shoemaker by the name of André Pierre Demain. The Belgian resistance also taught my dad some other tricks that would help him get across Nazi-occupied Europe in 1943 and 1944.
They taught me how to steal bicycles. I became the best bicycle thief in Europe. You go to the marketplace early in the morning, the women come in, they have their bicycles and their string bags, and they pick up the food. And the last thing they do is go to the bakery store to get one of those long loaves of French bread. When they go into the bakery store, you'll find it takes them about 10 minutes to stand in line and get a loaf of bread. You give them 5 minutes, they're deep inside. Then you go take their bike and push off. Just look for a tall woman with a big bicycle. And that's what I did. I stole 159 bicycles.
With help from Europe's vast underground network and priests in other Catholic churches who hid my Jewish-American father without a second thought, Bruce Sundlun's journey took him out of Belgium and into France in early 1944. Stolen bikes were replaced by faster-moving trains as my dad found his way to other small towns and villages in occupied France. Eventually, an apartment in Paris served as a safe house for pilot Bruce Sundlun and another American aviator also on the run. A Canadian and British soldier were also added to the mix, all hiding under the nose of the Germans who occupied the city. After a month in the French capital, it was back on bikes for Dad, with the goal of crossing the Pyrenees Mountains into neutral Spain.
I could make about 50 miles a day, and I drove those bicycles all the way from Belgium, across France, down France, tried to cross the Pyrenees Mountains. Couldn't do it, snow was too deep.
With Spain no longer an option, my father retreated back into France and back into the bicycle thievery business to get him from here to there. Catholic churches and sympathetic priests continued to hide my dad in secret hideaways and passages in some of Europe's oldest houses of worship. My father's destination this time was another neutral country in the war, Switzerland. But in the spring of 1944, on his way to the Swiss border, Bruce Sundlun, a Jewish-American pilot, somehow landed a job fighting with the French resistance against the country's German occupiers.
These underground groups attacked the Germans as they moved across southern France, and that's what I turned into. As soon as they got me involved and they found out I was an American officer who spoke French, because I'd learned to speak French by that time, they gave me 35 men, and that was my unit.
The French resistance gave him the code name of Salamander.
And we were trying to destroy their transport, particularly their fuel trucks. And we'd set the fuel trucks on fire and shoot up the tires and the engines. The Germans would fight back, but we knew the terrain and the campsite tree by tree, and they did not. So we had an advantage. And we were doing very well. In fact, we were doing too well.
Fighting with the French resistance was risky for an American, especially one of the Jewish religion. The Germans had turned up the pressure on the underground, killing French civilians every time an attack on their soldiers occurred.
While we were sitting outside this school having our lunch, a guy in a motorcycle drove up and he said in French, "Where's the American, Sundlun?" He had my name, rank, and serial number. He came over to me and he shifted to English. He said, "My orders are for you. Your orders are to leave this group immediately. You're 15 miles from the Swiss frontier. Go to Switzerland. The French are not going to sit back and let the German execute their women and children. And if it gets to be a choice between you and women and children, French, they're going to decide in favor of the women and children and turn you over." And the headquarters of the underground had said, "Get out, go to Switzerland, grab a bicycle, take off." And so that's what I did. I slapped him on the back and smiled, told the guys I gotta go to the bathroom, went in the school, went to the bathroom, but I went out the other side of the school and stole a bicycle and made my way down to the Swiss frontier and got me a priest. He got me a smuggler, and the smuggler took me across into Switzerland.
In May of 1944, Bruce Sundlun, on the run from the Germans for almost 6 months now, pedaled his way into Switzerland on yet another stolen bicycle. The reception wasn't what my dad expected.
They said, well, we're Swiss police and you're under arrest for illegally entering this country. You come along with us and you just have to spend, I think it was 18 or 19 days in jail, quarantine, then you'll be turned over to the Americans.
It was in Switzerland that Bruce Sundlun was recruited to join the Office of Strategic Services, or the OSS, the forerunner to today's CIA. The Swiss office was run by American Alan Dulles. Dulles liked the fact that my dad knew how to get around Europe. So in the summer of 1944, my father entered the world of espionage and was sent back into occupied France. Dulles assigned my dad the job of communicating with the French resistance and some German officers who were looking to organize the surrender of German forces in northern Italy. My father also helped out by keeping an eye on the invasion of southern France in August. Soon after his final mission in August of 1944, my dad was flown back to England, but B-17 pilot Bruce Sundlun had certainly had an amazing run during that time.
International Red Cross sent a cable to my parents telling them that I was alive and well. They'd be hearing from me directly soon when I got in the hands of American authorities. And my mother got that cable, if you can believe it, on Mother's Day. But she said, look, I don't know where Bruce is, but he's not dead. I've never had that feeling for 1 second since he was missing, and we'll hear from him eventually. And then she was right.
Belgian Luke Paco has visited the crash site of my father's B-17, the Damn Yankee, more than anyone else alive. What an incredible experience it was for me to be there as we walked and talked about the crash that occurred here in this very same field so many decades ago. To say it was emotional is an understatement.
So then we should find something.
Every few steps, the earth seemed to offer bits of my dad's plane to us. Luke's dedication to my father and his crew isn't just found here on what was once an old turnip field during World War II.
These are all special pieces, ammunition I found.
Everything's from his plane?
Everything. The big pieces of aluminium here.
Boeing?
Boeing, yeah.
Uh-huh. These are the bigger pieces of the plane.
That's the light aluminium pieces.
Made in the USA?
Yeah. That's the box of plexiglass.
This would be part of the windshield, do you think, or?
The battery of the engine is it.
Oh, 70 years later, it still smells like the...
You can smell it, every piece smells the same.
Wow. The true testament of Luke's admiration for my dad and his crew and what happened here on December 1st, 1943, came into a much clearer focus when my brother Tracy and I visited Luke's home in Jabbeke.
Also with the typical green color, you see? That's how they keep the pieces together with that.
Mm-hmm. That's where we step back into time and began to see for ourselves how one man's desire to preserve history and its lessons of sacrifice, courage, and patriotism is truly something beyond just a hobby.
It's all the same.
I mean, you can see how just destroyed it was in the explosion. I mean,
everything was broken and burned out. All bullet points.
There's so many. And you found them just over the years, just keep finding them.
Yes. All on the same spot. I show you.
Wow.
Yes,
American and German bullets, plexiglass from the gun turrets, personal items of my father's 10-man crew, belt buckles, coins, even a small piece of my dad's parachute that was hidden from view in that manure pile on that bitter cold December day in 1943.
These are parachute belts for the parachutes.
Yeah.
That's just pieces from your father's parachute.
That's from his parachute.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And that's the rest of the parachute of your father. You see the typical cut to make clothes of it. That's the rest.
Bins and bins of aluminum from her fuselage, bakelite, burned metal, parts of radios, even a pocket knife that was once given to that local boy who, with his young brother, helped guide my father to the safety and care of those in a nearby farm after his B-17 crashed just a short distance away.
And is this the pocket knife he gave to the little boy?
That's the pocket knife.
He saved it.
Yes. He put it all these years in his car, and then he gave it to me.
Wow.
I'm very proud of this because it's personal from your father.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The little boy who he gave the pocket knife to be nice kept it all those years.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
USA.
USA. Burned in the fire.
It's all here. Every time Luke Paco visits that old turnip field, he finds a little bit more of my father's past. Nuts and bolts, more bullets. He preserves all of these artifacts of war, cleans every piece in a workshop in his garage, handles each fragment of the Damn Yankee like it was fine china. That's how much one man in one foreign country wants to preserve the instruments of liberty that helped free his and all the other nations of Europe.
Oh my gosh.
That's one of the propellers. And that's a bullet goal from a German Focke-Wulf during the fight, and that's the mark your father put on it.
To Luke Paco, with thanks and sincere appreciation for your work in preparing
the
records of my B-17 bomber, shot down on December 1st, 1943 in Sundlun, Belgium, and for your wonderful records you have maintained ever since. Bruce Sundlun, Colonel, USA Air Force. Above written April 25th, 2009, when I visited with Luke and his family, accompanied by my wife Susie and your 5 children. Yeah, I can just feel how grateful he was.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a piece of the wing flap. See? That's a piece of that. They use it to go up and to go down. See?
Right.
Some guys who lived at the farm where the German guards were staying, pulled it away together with the propeller and hide it over there until the war was over. I made it myself.
As a reminder of my dad's legacy here in Jabbeke, Belgium, Luke presented me with something I will always treasure. A part of my dad's history, and America's too.
Thank you. Dear Kara, these relics are artifacts of the B-17 Damn Yankee, which your father was a pilot commander of. I found these on the crash site myself, and because of my respect to your father and his crew members, I preserved it with the highest care, with a warm feeling of gratitude for having the honor of having known your father. I would like to give these to you. I hope it grant you a valuable memory to an important period in your father's life. Luke Paco, thank you so much.
On a cold December 1st day in 1990, exactly 47 years after my dad's plane crashed, Luke Paco and the townspeople of Jabbeke gathered at the field where an American B-17 flew its final mission. They dedicated a simple memorial to the Damn Yankee and its crew. My dad would visit the memorial a couple of times, the last visit coming in 2009, when he was made an honorary citizen of Jabbeke.
I thank you. I thank you for my life. I thank you for everything that's happened.
He returned a hero, and his story remains the stuff of legend in this part of a free Belgium, handed down from generation to generation.
On this place, the 1st of December 43, an American bomber, Boeing Flying 40s, crashed and 5 men died. They were nose gunner George Hayes, ball turret gunner Harry Cologne, left waist gunner Mike Capoletti, right waist gunner Chester Snyder, tail gunner Frank Likas. 5 young men who died for our freedom.
I don't think we were heroes. I think we all did what we thought had to be done at the time. But we didn't do it to be a hero. We just did it because I'm gonna help you, but I know you're gonna help me. And between the two of us, we're gonna get the job done.